Hey guys, Mo here, and I'm bringing another Wi-Fi battle. If my commentary's off, I'm recording the narration at like 2 o'clock. So yeah, I'm playing SouthpawBandit in my third Wi-Fi battle ever. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so it's my third Wi-Fi battle ever. And my second one I didn't upload because it's against the UU team, and my first one obviously was against the Nubs. So yeah, this time my first win, and I also decided to upload because I'm trying out a new team. I'm in team rotation at the minute. It's a rain team. First of all, his team, the threats on his end, Ferrothorn is special, nothing really like a special hit in my team. Latios is the biggest threat, and then Cloyster to stall shit out. But yeah, Rotom in my team does what Rotoms do, as was his. Polytoad's there to set up weather, so if I get rid of Tyranitar, I'm good. Azumarill, Choice Band, huge power, standard moveset, you know. Cloyster, Shell Smash Sweeper, Ferrothorn, and Espeon's a dual screener. No entry hazards, but it gets bounced back, and here we go. So it's sped up this time for once, or for my second time. I figured it out. The music might be a bit off though, so if it is, I'm sorry, I'll just name my narration will override it. Anyway, he goes into Rotom, I go into my Calagon Rotom. He wins the speed tie, assumes the speed tie. I think he's scarfed. I'm not sure, I might be running the wrong nature. But anyway, he goes out into Latios, but I don't mind losing speed tie, despite the fact I get a lot of damage. I do get switch initiative, and I get to go out. He goes back to me, and I go into Rosebush, my Ferrothorn. He's going to withdraw, and he is going to go into Prestige, which is Ferrothorn. Very good play to take Leech Seed, except I go for Thunder Wave. I didn't actually predict that because I forget team previews nearly instantly because I'm a forgetful fucker. But I just said I want Thunder Wave this Latios, and he just hadn't bringing something that actually really helped me later on. Go into Espeon. Espeon's here to set up screens, and I didn't know what he'd do. And then he reveals he's a physical Ferrothorn. I'm like, what? So I go for the Reflect because I know it's most important against this thing, and it can sponge his hits. So then he goes for Leaf Blade, and I'm like, okay, that's not going to do much. So why does it keep going? Stop! Yeah, I thought that was a crit, and it's like not, and I'm like, oh shit, not going to get off the Psychics I wanted. So I get my special defense up, and then he gets Power Hacks. Oh yeah, that's why I gave him the Power Hacks, for the speed drop and for that shit. So I go for the Psychic, and like, this is going to take him out. It's a Ferrothorn, it's not even going to get him into red. Oh shit, that's what I was thinking at that time. He goes for another Sword Stance, and it's like, what? He was definitely going for the KO afterward. He didn't think it would do that much, and I was just like, okay, let's go over this and just kill him off. But he actually withdraws and goes out into the power. But luckily for me, I was actually going to experiment and kill him off with hidden power, because I forgot what hidden power I put in this thing, because I stabbed this a couple of days ago. So I go for hidden power, and when he activates the Chople Berry, I find out that I'm actually carrying HP Fighting. I'm like, oh yeah, I carried HP Fighting. I didn't know that. Now I know it's a standard, but you know, I knew that at the time. I didn't know it at this time fighting the battle. So he gets out, and then he's just like, okay, let's go into Ferrothorn, and no need for predictions. It's gonna die. It's dead. Unfortunately, this is actually stalling out my screens, but it shouldn't really matter. Most of my team has actually high defenses. The screens is mainly for Espeon and for Cloyster as light screen, and then Azumarill, who is as frail as fuck with Aqua Jet, you know. So go for hidden power fighting is the best thing I have to hit this thing. It's obviously going to kill me off with the U-turn, Choice Banded, but hidden power fighting is a crit, and like, ooh, I said sorry on the chat. But to be honest, looking at it, it didn't really matter over the course of the fight. I don't think. No, it didn't, because Scizor is shit special defense. You can see what happens to this when it does actually go down. So my Espeon dies, so it's now tied. He goes out into the power in the Tyranitar. I decided I'm going to go into Blue Waffle, my Azumarill, my first UU member in all 12 member teams I put on YouTube. I do have another UU member, or I think it might be RU, planned to bring up. But then I go for the Aqua Jet, Choice Band, huge power. I'm going to take it out. Like, yes, well done. As I've won the Weather War if I can bring in my Polytoad at all. So I just go, okay, let's bring it out and go into Handiclap. I love that nickname for my Polytoad. Get the Drizzle up, and now his team is completely crippled. you know, his team is completely reliant on that sand. So he goes for hidden power fire. He's not going to do anything because, well, I think he was assuming he's switching to Ferrothorn. He didn't think I'd risk it, but I did. You know, I don't really mind. He's locked into it now, so he's going to come back out and go into stunning this Scizor, thinking, oh, I can just get bullet punches off in this thing. Scald, that crit earlier, I'm not sure if Scald would have killed. I didn't run calcs on this. I run calcs on something later on. But, yeah, so that's dead. Light screen wore off, so now I'm no screens left, despite the fact that Bright, what was it? I don't know what, Light Clay was in play. I go for Draco, he goes for Draco Meteor, whichever one I call it. It depends on the region you're from. I call it Draco Meteor. He's a crit. It's from a Latios. He's Specs. I know he's Specs. I know that not only from the damage output, but because of my next move. No, I'll move later on. But yeah, so Polito goes down. Really overkill. I found out later on in the comment that in the Nubs battle, that reversal was 200 base power to a Heatran. No, 200 base power with that at 1 HP. So like, oh, that's overkill. So this is even more overkill. Specs, Latios, Draco Meteor. Ow, and it's not a Politoed. But anyway, Draco Meteor is my Rose Bush. Is going to do nothing to Rose Bush. So I'm like, Thunder Wave something, and he goes into the Legend. I'm like, what? He has 2 Legends? He has Latios and like Gliscor is Legend. So that's going to get pretty confusing. But either way, Thunder Wave obviously doesn't affect because it's a ground type. And then he goes for, obviously he's Poison Heal. Although he could have been Sand Veil, given the fact he's on a Sand team. It isn't uncommon, but to be honest, this tells me he's a stall set. So I go into Blue Waffle because I have that Ice Punch. But then I remember, oh, he's kind of sub-stalling me, isn't he? So there's the Poison Heal. If you didn't know, after 2 turns of Poison Heal, he will have the energy he used from the sub back and more. But then he's going to Toxic me. I'm like, oh fuck, I can just Ice Punch him. And I do Ice Punch him, and that's going to leave a dent. But unfortunately, this thing, it's the second most annoying Pokemon in OU for me, other than Breloom. Just for some reason, I find Breloom more annoying. And now he protects, and I go for another Ice Punch. I ran Calcs on this. If Ice Punch had a hit, it wouldn't have OHKO'd, it would have decimated. You know, I just want to run Calcs to see how powerful it is. It's like 160%, and like, this doesn't run through 2 of these things, but you know, I wonder what would happen if it was a crit. That's 2 Gliscors. But anyway, he's just going to sort of Toxic on me. At this point, I figure out the obvious. This isn't going to work. So I just go out. Now, at the moment, he's going to protect. So I predicted that he's going to protect sub to try and keep that health up. So I decide I'm going to go with the Onyx Phobia, my Cloyster. If you don't get that, you know, where have you been for Pokemon memes? What do you think this thing looks like? I predict wrong. I just go for a sub, but I believe Icicle Sphere does actually kill. Like, it's hard to explain what my thought process was. Icicle Sphere, the first one takes a sub, and the rest just decimate it. So I go for Shell Smash. It's a free Shell Smash, no damage. But in comes Rotom, which walls this thing. I'm not going to be able to get any damage on this thing, even with the Shell Smash. It's going to OHKO me because Cloyster's special defense is about as good as a snail being stood on. But yeah, so I go for the Icicle Sphere and I'm like, oh, a crit, that could help me. Like, and then another crit, and I said, oh, I was texting to him on the chat, oh, sorry, because I found this on the Smogon Wi-Fi Battle Finder. Bring them to red, and I was like, oh, that's probably min-max, but I deserve it. And the Volt Switch is going to kill me off, and he's going to leave this thing for fodder. Or, I think it's his Ferrothorn counter as well, but, you know, now it's not. Now it's just not. He goes into Gliscor, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to play this? And I believe I go into my Rotom. So I'm thinking, if I Choice Scarf this thing, yes, my Rotom will get poisoned, although I didn't realize this at the time, but it's locked into a move, it'll probably get locked into Toxic, and I can just sweep it from there. But I actually end up tricking this Latios, which gives him my Choice Scarf and me the Choice Specs. And I was like, okay, so I still do a Choice. Good to know that this thing is Choice, but now it's not going to pack as much of a punch. So I go for a Volt Switch. Specs Volt Switch do a little bit more damage than it did at the start. This thing is just getting Volt Switch all day. We go on to Rosebush, and I'm going to gyro ball this. Do I leech seed or gyro ball? Hold on, can't remember. I know I don't thunder wave because he's going to switch into that Gliscor. I think I leech seed it. Do it? Yeah, I leech seed it. Makes sense because now he's getting like half the poison heal recovery, meaning with the sub takes in around the same amount of turns. Plus he's not going to be able to damage me for shit. So, and he can't toxic me, meaning Ferrothorn has just walled this Gliscor. He's walled the wall, and actually I believe this is the start of a Ferrothorn stall sweep. It's the coolest sweep ever, even though it's the gayest thing you're ever going to see. So I'm just going to gyro ball the shit out of everything. So I gyro ball the sub, and the sub is broken, and I take the leech seed. Like, okay, that's pretty chill. I got the leech seed. He's going to poison heal up. It's going to be really hard to take this thing down, but he's going to withdraw it. And like, yeah, I understand that. That's an obvious play. And he goes out into his Latios. It's like, okay, I can kill this thing off with a gyro ball, because I think it's the speed difference that calculates it. I didn't salve this Ferrothorn right. I think its IVs in speed are 31, so gyro ball doesn't pack as much of a hit. But he goes into Ferrothorn thinking I can hidden power fire this thing, kill it off. Now I could have still gone for the Azumarill sweep. I checked it. Aqua Jet would have outcode a defensive Gliscor at full health from Azumarill, so I would have been able to sweep with Aqua Jet from here. But in the rain, hidden power fire would not have killed. So I go for leech seed to get a little bit of health back. It's like nothing. Screen goes blank, and I get a tiny bit of health back, not much. And he's down to legend. He's like, how did that not kill? I'm like, dude, the rain. He's like, oh fuck. So he knows he's lost. He's gonna start like not even stall me out. I've said it's GG, and he's like, yeah, he doesn't DC. That's good. I tried to look for a YouTube channel link. He doesn't have one. Oh well. So Rosebush is just going to gyro ball the shit out of this guy, scoring in the game. He's just going to try an Earthquake, score a crit. But either way, as I said, I do have that. Oh, there's a crit, but still doesn't do much. Like, it's nothing that I can't get back. And I go for leech seed, just like just in case he scores a crit. And a bit too late there, fella. But between the leftovers and the leech seed, I'm recovering nearly all of it. In about three turns, I've recovered all that, and then factoring the Earthquake, it'd be 5 turns. Yeah, so and right then the leech seed will kill it off, even with the poison heal, I think. But he's gonna keep going for EQ, just trying his hardest just to score one more crit and just kill it off. But yeah, gyro ball, because these aren't doing nothing combined with the leech seed and leftovers. Go for a gyro ball. One more gyro ball will kill this thing off from that range, even with the poison heal recovery. Plus the leech seed is taking a little bit of health off too, so there is no reason to leave that. It's not going to kill off. As you can see, this is really stally with loads of after-turn effects. He goes for Toxic, expecting a switch. I don't know why. I go for Gyro Ball and end the game. Have a good game, fun game. There were some really good plays in there. A lot of hacks, especially with Cloyster. It didn't really matter because, actually, it did matter because I still would have killed it off. Because you saw how little it did to Ferrothorn. I was going to leech seed it and could just stall it out with Protect. Plus I still had my own Rotom, which could have Volt switched, but even though I'm Specs Rotom really hurts. You know, so had a good game and hope you enjoyed. Later. Bye.